Hello and a happy new year. Welcome to this special show where we're going to look back at 2021, the people that made the difference, the people that generated controversy, the people that impacted our lives in ways that we had never imagined, and of course look at the events that shaped the destiny of this nation. We at India Today magazine every year pick the Newsmaker of the Year, and this year 2021 was a very difficult one given the tumultuous nature of events that happened. There was the COVID second wave that devastated us, and yet there were highs like Neeraj Chopra winning the Olympic gold. But more than anything else, of all the events that dominated was the fact that COVID stayed with us right through our lives, but we felt safer in 2021 because of two persons and the actions that they did. And these were the vaccines that they produced. We're all very familiar with them. Covishield, Covaxin, you must have taken one of them. But who were the people that were behind these inventions and developments? These two people were Krishna, the chairman and managing director of Bharat Bio, a Hyderabad-based biotech company, and Adar Poonawalla, of the Serum Institute of India in Pune, a very well-known institute that is known as one of the world's largest vaccine makers. But we're going to begin by focusing on Krishna, the Covaxin maker, because all our children are now going to start getting it from this month onwards, where from the ages 15 to 18, Covaxin will be used to vaccinate our children. And Krishna's contribution goes beyond that. He is the manufacturer that made the first indigenously developed COVID vaccine that has made India proud. So let me take you across to Krishna in his factory in Hyderabad, and let's listen to how he did what he did. We are standing in the laboratory that's here. This, of course, is a very safe zone, so our caps are off and everything else. But in this particular laboratory, just a couple of meters away is where the entire process begins to create what is called an inactivated vaccine that then goes and produces the Covaxin that then gives you immunity. But I'm not getting into the complexity. Let me just start by asking you, Dr. Allah, when the entire Wuhan episode happened, what was your sense? Were you prepared? What is it that made you say, okay, I'm going to make the vaccine here?
I mean, as I said earlier, we've been working on a lot of pandemic vaccines, whether chikungunya, Zika, pandemic flu, all that. So we knew that something will come one day.
Why did you decide that India should be making? You could as well, like other companies have imported it from other pharmaceutical research agencies and then manufactured them yourself. Why did you decide that India should be making it?
I mean, you look at nuclear thing, G7, or people who have got nuclear capabilities, they're treated differently. And I think if you want that to be treated in vaccine is also like a nuclear now. I mean, it's as important as a nuclear thing in the vaccine. And I think I want that India to be there in the map. That's very important for us as a country. And we are a new generation entrepreneurs. I mean, we are a new generation entrepreneurs to show to the next generation that India can do it.
You had the capacity to make all this in your own laboratory, yet you chose that you would combine with the Indian Council of Medical Research, the National Institute of Virology. Why was that important for you to have a combination of public-private partnership to make this vaccine?
See, we were working with a live virus, and there was no vaccine. If one employee dies also, it can be fall on me. And I'll go to jail because I worked on virus, in the live virus, and something happened to my employees. Is dangerous. And I want to keep it transparent. That's how I want a government system to be partner, so that they know everything transparently. I'm not doing illegally anything. I'm doing right for what is right for the country.
Now, this child vaccine that is there, is it similar to the adult vaccine, or have you made modifications to it?
It's exactly same. If I modify, then I have to do efficacy trial again in children, which is complicated for us. So we use the same dose and same concentration. Everything is same like adult to children.
And there's exciting news that you are now in the process of building a nasal vaccine, which you call the KISS vaccine. You tell us about it.
No, I call KISS vaccine. It's not just for fun for my employees to get some entertainment in the life. It's not to make a brand name like that. I say that if somebody take a nasal vaccine and if somebody kissed some infected person, you should not get the disease. So I feel the nasal will prevent the transmission. See, today we are wearing a mask only because to stop the transmission of the virus. All injectable vaccine can protect only a lower lung and this thing, not upper lung and respiratory tract will not be protected. So unless you protect, that's why people are vaccinated still get some diseases. but they get disease. The RT-PCR positive and all that, because the upper lung is not protected. Whereas nasal will protect the entire upper lung and lower lung both, and also stop the transmission because it doesn't multiply. So naturally, you don't spread the disease to others. So really, transmission can be blocked.
The development of Covaxin, India's first indigenously developed COVID vaccine, was a fantastic collaboration between a private research institute, the Bharat Bio, and a public research institution called the National Institute of Virology based in Pune. What NIV did was not only isolate the virus, it deciphered its genomic structure and produced the live virus, grew it in the laboratory to hand it over to Bharat Bio to start the development of Covaxin. Behind this entire effort is Dr. Priya Abraham, the dynamic director of the National Institute of Virology. When you look through the microscope or whatever you look through, electron microscope, and you saw the SARS-CoV virus, how does it look?
These
You've
findings,
seen a lot of
these findings were not based on electron microscope, but about 2 weeks later, we had an image from a nasopharyngeal swab of a patient. And yes, I mean, I have been quoted because I've said this before, but it is a pretty virus.
But a pretty dangerous one also,
yes,
as we've seen.
Pretty dangerous, but pretty to look at too.
And when you say pretty, why? What does it look like through an electron microscope?
Because it has spikes on its envelope which stick out like the rays of a sun, or even like, you know, the protrusions on a crown.
Right.
So it actually comes from the crown-like appearance. That's why it's called a coronavirus.
Okay.
So all the viruses that have those protrusions, spike protrusions. So the virus is like this, and you have those spikes very prettily arranged around it. It's a classic, you know, coronavirus.
And what is the kind of collaboration you'll have to do after that?
So Bharat Biotech has approached us for the, you know, the emergent strains, be it alpha, be it delta. You know, now they were, I'm sure they have actually asked us whether we could give them the Omicron if we succeed in isolating it. So we would hand over these strains, live virus, to them. We have an agreement, legal agreement covering that. So we hand over the strains to them, and they will incorporate it in their vaccine formulation, so that it is contemporary with the strains that are, you know,
so
circulating.
They are now going to be, I mean, you're all collaborating. If the Delta variant came in, you would tell them, okay, now we've got this new thing, and they'll start testing it and making sure that the vaccines are
so they will grow it up and then try to incorporate it, and I think that's what they have done.
Right.
So the alpha, beta, delta was all handed over to them so that they can incorporate it in their upcoming formulation.
Okay. Having spoken to Krishna, let's move to the other vaccine champion, Adar Poonawalla, CEO of Serum Institute of India, based in Pune. Now, Poonawalla's achievement is that not only has he produced the maximum amount of doses for India, he has also taken the biggest risk that any investor would have taken. Even before Covishield was cleared for human use, he had stocked up millions of them, investing over $1 billion for it. For that courage, the fact that he would risk so much money, not knowing whether this vaccine would succeed, is why Poonawalla becomes the newsmaker of the year with his splendid achievement for supplying India the vaccine that made the difference. What was the challenge? What went in your mind? You were sitting here and suddenly this huge pandemic breaks out. Were you prepared? What went into your decision making?
Well, when the WHO, you know, classified this as a pandemic that's going to potentially cause disruptions to travel and, you know, result in this virus, you know, spreading and creating havoc all across the globe, we had two choices. Either sit and wait as a manufacturer for a technology to prove itself or a vaccine to be licensed, and then try to enter into a collaboration with someone, or, you know, partner with multiple different innovators in academia, such as Oxford and then Novavax and some others, to start building facilities at risk and then stockpiling production at risk. Of course, that came with a lot of challenges. Every month there was a new challenge, whether it was raising capital, partnering with these people, getting your permissions and licenses, you know, and then even after we were licensed, there were challenges on supply. The country needed a lot more, a lot faster when we were hit with the second wave. So we've encountered all these challenges, we've overcome them, and now India is in a very good position. In fact, globally, the supply of vaccines from other manufacturers also and in India has outstretched the demand, in the sense that, yes, the demand is very much there. We need to vaccinate large parts of the population still across the globe, but at least there's enough supply on a monthly basis to take care of that.
What went into your mind? Why did you tie up with Oxford University, AstraZeneca? Why did you want to do something yourself? What was the decision making? And you were making huge investments. What was the kind of investments you're making?
Well, initially we invested $250 to $270 million. Very soon, by May, June of 2020, I realized we needed close to $900 million to $1 billion. Because if we were going to make all these other different vaccines also to the scale of 1 billion dose capacity annually, we needed to put in that investment, and also buy the raw materials and the OPEX that was required. We hired 1,000 people just for the COVID activities, trained them. So all this was happening in 2020, whilst in parallel the clinical studies and trials were going on globally and as well in India.
We've got to take a quick break at this moment, but we will be back and look at all the newsmakers that made the difference in 2021. Welcome back to this special program where we are looking at the newsmakers of 2021, the people that made the difference, that shaped our lives. Apart from the 2 vaccine champions, there were a whole host of others, 9 of them that in various fields that changed the way we looked at things, that impacted us significantly, that brought us joy, and at times also concern and angst. And in these fields, whether it's in economy and business, whether it's in politics, where great wins and great losses happened, whether it was in sports, where we had tremendous successes, and of course, a lot of people felt sad for those who didn't do that well. And if you looked at entertainment, the ones that we always wanted to have in a year that brought a lot of sorrow, there were a lot of people that brought joy, that shone in the arc lights of entertainment, and we are bringing them to you. 9 people that shaped our destinies, that changed the country in some ways, and in many ways helped us live through 2021.
The reformer of the year is Narendra Modi. In his first term, Prime Minister Modi's reform agenda saw only incremental implementation. In his second term, he moved at warp speed to reform India's economic landscape, and in 2021 made a big privatization push that included asset monetization of PSUs, apart from streamlining labour laws. That earned him the title of Game Changer of the Year. The Politician of the Year, Mamta Banerjee, has convincingly demolished the myth of invincibility attached to the Narendra Modi-Amit Shah duo. Her landslide election victory in West Bengal in 2021, despite the BJP's hyped-up campaign, polarizing maneuvers and huge mobilization of resources, has given hope to the opposition. They see in her the most worthy opponent to Modi in the Lok Sabha battle of 2024. And that makes Mamta Banerjee the feisty challenger. Fueled by increasing internet penetration and smartphone use and loads of investor capital, in 2021, India saw a huge spike in the number of startups valued at over $1 billion. Here are our unicorns of 2021 as they hogged the headlines throughout the year. The cosmetic startup Nykaa, under the graceful leadership of Falguni Nayar, made heads turn in 2021. Nykaa's IPO debut in October was oversubscribed 82 times. Its 58-year-old founder and CEO Falguni Nayar is one of India's wealthiest female entrepreneurs. At $8 billion, Razorpay is India's second most valuable fintech startup. The firm grew 40 to 45% month-on-month after an initial dip in the first 3 months of the pandemic. Zomato's IPO in July was oversubscribed 40.38 times. The demand for shares was the third highest in the history of Indian stock markets. In May, PharmEasy bought diagnostics chain Thyrocare for 4,546 crore rupees. The deal was one of the largest in healthcare. Bharatiya Kisan Union leader Rakesh Tikait almost single-handedly turned around the agitation against the new farm laws, which at one point looked like a lost cause, staying steadfast even when many other farmer leaders had given up following the Republic Day violence. In the end, a seemingly omnipotent central government had to back down, repeal the laws and apologize to the farmers. With the fire in the soul, Rakesh Tikait is the activist of the year. The son of a Bollywood superstar is arrested in a drug bust on a cruise ship. But the case backfires, tarring the reputation of the investigating agency, the Narcotics Control Bureau. It also starts a debate on the need to amend laws on drug consumption. Heavy hand of the law made Aryan Khan case the controversy of the year. By winning India's first gold medal in athletics and only its second individual gold in Olympics, Neeraj Chopra gave the nation of 1.3 billion people the biggest high in a year fraught with challenges. Sportsperson of the year Neeraj Chopra set the gold standard for the country's sports future. The Ahmedabad-based architect has been associated with several high-profile projects closely tied to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Most recently, the Kashi Vishwanath Temple corridor and the controversial Central Vista redevelopment. In the face of mounting criticism against the Central Vista makeover, Patel has also turned spokesman for the project. Professional of the Year, Bimal Patel, showed the power of architect in 2021. Akshay Kumar brought audiences back to the theatres with the release of his Bell Bottom and then later Suryavanshi. And Sanya Malhotra entertained audiences at home with two fine performances in Paglet and Meenakshi Sundareshwar on OTT platforms. Lighting up the screens, Akshay Kumar and Sanya Malhotra are the entertainers of the year 2021. The year 2021 made it clear that to succeed as an artist, you need to deliver both quality and quantity. For YouTuber Bhuvan Bam and music composer Tanishq Bagchi, this balance no longer seems elusive. After years of toil, this is their day in the sun. For cracking the virtual code, Artist of the Year 2021, go to Bhuvan Bam and Tanishq Bagchi.
So there you have it. 10 newsmakers that made the difference in 2021 and by their actions shaped our lives, changed the nation and our destiny. And in many ways would have built the foundation for 2022, and hopefully the new year would be better than the last. For more details of the newsmakers that we have just talked about, read the latest issue of India Today magazine. And thank you for watching.